Good evening. 10 p.m. in Accra, 11 p.m. in London, and midnight in Stockholm. This is News at 10. The bulletin is live on 3FM 92.7. My name is Bright Nanamfu. First, let's take a look at today's news highlights. And first on the list, TV3 can confirm that the 420 Ghanaian pilgrims who were airlifted Friday, August 11 from the Tamale International Airport have arrived in Saudi Arabia to commence 30 days of a key Islamic tenet. The pilgrims were airlifted by Airbus A330 after a government delegation led by the Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bamia bid the pilgrims farewell. Tamale were told another aircraft have just left the airport there. And danger is looming at Kwemufie in the eastern region as a huge rock hangs loose on the main road linking the area to Atimpuku Adomi Bridge and other communities. We're told that the Water River remains an option, but the only boat there is in poor shape and breaks down regularly. The community and its environs will soon be cut off if urgent attention is not given to the situation there. The road almost washed off by what is happening there. Now, there is an easy calm among some 860 Ghanaian fishermen living in Akpakpa Dodeme near Benin, the capital Cotonou. Were told that this as a result of a demolition and eviction of people there. The intended eviction is in line with the government of Benin's program of action, which commenced in December last year, which aimed at improving the standard of cities, towns, and tourist sites in that part of the country. Ghanaians there, Akpakpa Dodome, and residents of some communities in the North Gonja district of the northern region rely on drug peddlers for healthcare. We're told that this is because cheap compounds that were supposed to have been constructed by government only exist on paper. The facilities are not there, and the guys there rely on drug peddlers for health care. That's in the northern part of the country, North Gonja district of the northern region. And finally, Kenya's opposition has accused the government of state terror and vowed to overturn a sham result. We're told that senior opposition official James Oringo said they would not go to court to achieve this. He's, however, urging all to remain calm and stay out of trouble. If you're watching us from Jarapa in the Upper West region, if you're with us from Kumasi in the Ashanti region, if you're watching us from Asamankasi in the Eastern region, this is News at 10. Let's start with a big one. Let's start from here. The implementation of the mandatory toll levy policy has been met with some public outcry. We're told that opinion is divided as some are calling for broader consultation and others calling for outright rejection of the toll. We're told that passed in 2012, the LI 2180 was given 5 years fallow period, after which it will jump to life in 2017. However, we're told that there is a whole brouhaha as Russian Trucks Ghana Limited is threatening a court action. They claim ownership of the facility, the copyright of the project, and are threatening to go to court. Jonas Buahin is the managing director of Russian Trucks Ghana and is here with me. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Right, so you claim the concept is yours?
Yes, sir.
How is that possible?
That's possible because it was just a creation of me and my partners somewhere in 2007. We had to travel between Ghana, Burkina, and Mali, as well as Ivory Coast. And it is so that I was a Ghanaian, but I could speak French. So we went all over, and the traveling was almost just by the road. For that reason, we had to encounter a lot of problems. And if you can imagine, 2007, even now we have a little bit of a modern life, but in that time it was much more worse.
Right.
So we decided to create something that we think will be good for Africa because we were really very far and that our obstacles were too much. But it is so that you see, I can use today as a very good example to explain why this law is very good for the country and Africa as a whole.
Okay, go ahead, before we even delve into your issues.
The typical example is that in Ghana, there is a law which says that every house have to have a toilet. But Ghana is still a place where a lady will be on a toilet and shouting that a man is coming to me. You see, so even though the law exists, to make it operationalized, the people must know the need why the toilets must be there. So this law is also, or this creation of this concept is to make the people realize that it is a need and it is something that we can do and we have to do it and that we need it.
So you're not against it?
I'm not against it, and I created it in 2007.
And so you want to claim it?
Not to claim it,
okay,
but I have it. It's for me. And I have a copyright on it. Mind you, part of it and the process ended up somewhere in the Ministry of Transport in 2008.
Part of your copyright?
Not part of the copyright, part of the process of making it possible to be implemented in the country,
right,
and a law being changed for the purpose of my concept. It ended up somewhere at the Ministry of Transport. And by then the minister's name was Mike Hammer, and the wife is actually, if she's watching me now, is actually the person who advised me to make sure I have a copyright on this concept because it could be stolen.
So in effect, it is registered in your name?
In my name, yes, as an author, and in the name of my company, Ratchin Trucks.
The issue about it has been on for several years. We're told, for instance, that way back 2012, thereabout, this was being discussed. Were these discussions in the build-up to the implementation of, or where we are today, did they come to your knowledge?
Yes, I followed everything very closely, but it will come to your proper offices if you have studied that all what is happening with this towing had something which was coming that at a point the National Road Safety advised that trucks will be put by the police stations and trucks will be pulled from the road to go to the police station and all those things. It was something they wanted to do to see if there was any other way around to do it other than what I had proposed earlier on in 2007. All that one failed. And they had no objection than to make this process come to being. The only story and the only sad side of it is that the implementation is wrong and the claimant is also wrong. And for that reason, if they want to implement, it starts wrong and ends up in just the soil. That's it.
I see. So you're suggesting that in what we are talking about now, the fact that it's gone to Parliament's Committee on Works and Housing, we're told it's gone back to the ministry and perhaps some reshaping is being done. All these processes, you're not part of it, you're not aware of it.
I have been made part of it only to be used because there was in July 1st announced by the Minister of Transport that the toll levy is going to start. Then it was halted because of the public outcry. And like I'm saying, the implementation is always wrong because the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Road Safety, they are not the author of this specific program.
That is why you said the implementation is wrong.
That is why the implementation is wrong.
Okay, I would love us to come to talk about why implementation is wrong, but is this known to the ministry? The fact that the concept is yours, is it known to the ministry? It's
known to the ministry as I speak to you now.
You've told them, you've written officially.
I have told them, they have copies of my rights.
Official writing?
Official writing. Yes.
What is the response?
Zero. But you see, you asked a question if they had involved me, and I said they used me only. So when it was halted,
On 1st July?
yes, then the Parliamentary Select Committee on Transport had to think about how to justify why the law must stay. Because they had to think either to repeal the law or make it stay. In that time, they invited me, few colleagues of mine who were also supposed to be contractors were coming after me when we went to the Rus. Yeah, so we went there and they had to ask questions and all that. Even there was a point, one man said, in America, it is not like that, and I enjoy driving in America, and if I break down, they come into me. I said, yes. It is also the same way that in America, if you don't work, you are not paid. But in Europe, if you don't work and you're after 18, you must be paid. So culture changes from state to state and country to a country. What will work for Ghana is what I think I have said. If they like it, then we must just implement this.
I see. So you hold the blueprint to effective implementation. That's what you're saying.
That is exactly what I'm saying. And I have the support.
You care to share that with us? Or perhaps you want to hold that on?
To share, meaning if I like to share with the state?
About effective implementation here or in this studio.
Exactly. I can do it with you.
Why is the implementation wrong?
The implementation is wrong because, you see, it is not just a question of towing. It's a service which must be rendered to the country. And for that reason, when we started, we said, me and my partners in Europe, we said, we are going to make satellite stations all over, get vans in place who will come to our rescue, so it is a vehicle ambulance. And in it, we have batteries, we have certain basic things, and then on the driving wheel of these vans is an engineer always, and a technician. It is not always a truck standing that the engine is broken. It's not always standing that the truck cannot move. Sometimes it's just some few things. The owner is in Accra, the truck is in Paga. Okay. Now, we can support and let this vehicle move without necessarily towing it off. And for that reason, we also have a satellite station where the vehicle driver or whoever can make a stop. He can decide on what to do, and then even have extra service if it's important. See, because it is not to say that to tow off the vehicle is the end of the story.
Right.
Sometimes when there are accidents on the street, the debris alone creates another one. We are supposed to take care of that. That is also cost.
Okay, I see. Now, finally, before you go, so now that you're claiming ownership, what do you want the Transport Ministry to do?
Actually, they have to accept that this is an intellectual property of mine. They have to accept it. Then they have to include me in whatever they like to do.
The processes. The
processes, the implementation, the timing, and of course, every infrastructure affecting this type of project that we have raised.
If not,
I think they've stepped at least on the other side of my life, and the implementation would not be the same as what the author sings. It will always be the music, but it will not be the same.
Right, and you leave it at that?
I don't leave it as that because I am a Ghanaian and I love to be in Ghana and I love to be who I am, and I prefer that this comes to light.
I'm grateful for your time tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much for talking to me. Jonas Boahen is managing director of Russian Trucks there. This is a development story. We'll tell you more about that later on. Stay here. Let's take a quick break. We're back in a moment. Thanks so much for staying there. President Nana Akufo-Addo has reiterated government is committed to setting up the National Research Fund at the 9th Congregation of the University for Professional Studies, Accra. He indicated it is to complement the book and research allowance.
I wish also to confirm that the government is committed to setting up the National Research Fund to provide vitally needed resources for academia to carry out problem-solving research and innovation in support of national development priorities. For the avoidance of doubt, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is expected to complement the books and research allowances, not to replace it. In fact, Mr. Chancellor, the draft bill on the National Research Fund has been prepared, and we are currently collecting views of key stakeholders to finalize it. And I also want to acknowledge, Mr. Vice Chancellor, your lamentations about the directive on ceding of some part of your IGF to the Ministry of Finance. This is a matter that affects all the institutions, and as you might expect, the Vice Chancellor's Ghana and other representative bodies have elaborately petitioned on this matter and is currently receiving attention.
And that's the Executive Secretary of the National Council for Tertiary Education, Professor Mohammed Salifu, there talking. But let's now speak to the President of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, Dr. Harry Agbano. Grateful for your time tonight, Doc.
Thank you very much, my brother, for having me.
So, certainly, this is good news. The Research Fund will complement what is already there.
Yes, we are happy that government has finally taken the position that the National Research Fund is not going to take away the book and research allowances that we enjoy. I think this has been our position for quite some time now. It is now official that government has decided that our position is a better one to go by.
Is government asking for too much if it says that it wants the association to be accountable to ensure the money is used for the right purpose?
Well, nobody doubts that university teachers we teach, and nobody doubts that we, engage in research and publication. In fact, if you don't research and you don't publish, you don't get promoted. And as academics, we belong to, professional associations, and we have to pay for that. Sometimes, even in publishing in some high-impact journals, you have to pay. And so we have no difficulty at all providing evidence to show how we use the book and research allowances that we receive. In fact, let me say again that the research component of the allowance we receive is 500 Ghana cedis. And then the book allowance is $1,500. So if government wants us to account for the 500 that we receive for research, I'm not sure it is going to be anything difficult for anybody to do.
Look, I'm grateful. That's all time will allow for. Dr. Harry Agbano is the president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana. Now, in some other news, the Anglo Youth Council in the Volta region has dragged the Minerals Commission and 3 other state institutions to the Supreme Court for giving some firms, Kensington Industries Limited and 7 Seas Salt Limited, the license to mine salt in the Keta Lagoon. The council wants the court to declare as unconstitutional the issuance of the license to the said companies without approval or ratification by Parliament. Residents of Adina in the Ketu South municipality of the Volta region a few months ago revolted against the salt companies, especially Kensington, accusing them of drying up their wells and destroying water bodies with their operations. All right, I will tell you some. If you remember this story, residents in Ketu South there raised some issues with the operations of the salt mining company and wanted some issues settled there. They claimed that their water bodies were drying up because of the use of water for mining salt. We're told that they have attracted the attention of the Anglo Youth Council, which has dragged the companies to court, asking the Supreme Court to declare the license granted these salt mining companies as unconstitutional and stop them from mining in that part of the region. The council want the court to declare as unconstitutional the issuance of the license to the said companies without approval by Parliament. And how to reach the council for the Anglo Youth Council, Elik Blim Agbamava. He's not on the line yet. So let's move on to the northern region. Residents of some communities in the North Gonja district of the northern region rely on drug peddlers for their health services. This is because CHIPS compounds that were supposed to be constructed by government only exist on documents. This is Eva Tibuka's report.
The Daboya area has over 60 communities, most of them inaccessible. The communities are located far away from health posts. Accessing healthcare from one of these means trekking long distances. Under the Accessible Health for All policy, Daboya was earmarked to have 15 community-based health planning and service centers, but only 5 have been completed and are operational. Interestingly, 4 others have been captured in the Assembly's document as completed and are operating, but it is not so in reality. Adam Siliasu is the district chief executive.
The chip compounds are not actually in place. Constructions are yet to begin. I don't know for what reason somebody could put that out there, but for one reason or the other, somebody said it was in place, it was operating. That is not the case.
It's on paper, so how did we get there?
Well, that one may be a question for somebody to answer. As far as I know, construction is yet to begin.
Kupoto community is one of the communities that has no CHIPS compound, but on paper it is indicated that a facility has been built for residents. The land earmarked for the CHIPS compound is now the hub of the charcoal business.
Construction is yet to begin, as far as I know, and to the best of my knowledge, the contract was awarded somewhere later part of 2016, and nothing has actually been done yet in terms of putting the chip compound in place. So whatever says the chip compound is in place, is operating, that is, I don't think he's talking about Kopoto.
The community lies 16 kilometers away from the under-resourced Daboya Polyclinic. With little option available to them, they rely on this drug peddler, their own source of health care when illness strike.
I have problems with my tummy, so each time he comes here, I buy more and keep, especially the antibiotics. I buy about 5 or 10 cedis for keep and take them anytime I'm in pain.
He said he feels stomach pains.
So what did you give him?
I give him stomach medicine.
Okay, what and what?
I gave him this thing.
What's the name of the...
Let me check and come.
But you forgot it?
I forgot it. But the medicine is plenty.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give him Opizo.
Kupoto, although was the hub of logging business, residents could not generate enough revenue to put up a health post on their own.
And some news just coming in. 431 pilgrims from the northern, upper east and west regions have been airlifted to Saudi Arabia, Mecca. It is expected that they will arrive in Medina at 5:21 a.m. Ghana time. That's the story from the Hajj. We're also told that the former NDC Member of Parliament for Tamale North, Alhaji Abukari Sumani, has passed on. And that's how we're wrapping up the show for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. And those of you who listen to us on radio, the show was put together by Salom Aminya. My name is Bright. Have a good night, but stay right here on TV3. Good night.